么高的学历，你为什么要彩礼？你自己不能养活自己吗？
不是，我是说给男方给我。
With such a high level of education, why do you still demand a bride price? Can't you support yourself? No, what I mean is, the groom should show an attitude toward my family. What do you mean by attitude? Giving money is attitude? If there's no bride price, can you at least provide the 5 golds traditional jewelry set? Why should he buy that? You should buy it yourself. Do you even have the qualifications? Number. Without the 5 golds, without the ability to support yourself, why demand something so high? Without it, everything else later will be ruined. If you have the ability, you can build a family. If you don't have money, then don't demand so much.
视频中38岁女硕士要彩礼被大叔狠狠地怼了。其实啊
In the video, a 8-year-old woman demanded a bride price, but was harshly criticized by a middle-aged man. In reality, for some older women, the bride price is not actually their biggest concern. The focus is on the person. Older single women. Some cannot find a suitable match at all. And if they do find someone suitable, they may not really care much about the bride price. Not all older leftover women are the same. It depends on the man. If the man's conditions are average, they may negotiate over the bride price. But if he meets their standards, she may truly not demand it, and even act humbly, sometimes even taking the initiative herself. Bride price is closely tied to local customs, not directly to age. No matter how old the woman is, if her hometown requires it, the bride price is still expected. But remember, giving or not giving a bride price is an attitude. Wanting or not wanting, it is also an attitude. One shows sincerity. The other shows trust. If both sides act with ulterior motives, then what is the meaning of marriage at all? This is also why so many men no longer want to enter marriage.
女人无法向上社交，女人只能向上性交，只是她以为她在。
Women cannot socialize upward. They can only have sex upward. They think they are engaging in upward socialization, but in reality, they are not. How could you socialize with someone who lives in a villa, drives a Maserati or Ferrari? What do you have to offer? You cannot. So the only path left is through sex. True socialization requires chips on the table. Just offering a piece of flesh is not a chip. Without chips, you cannot socialize upward. This is why so many women waste their time learning so-called seduction skills online. It's useless. For truly successful men, sex has very little value. Extremely little. If you rely only on sex to catch a man, the type you attract will usually be men of very low value. Men with no real ability. Truly capable men know the worth of their careers, their villas, their cars. Why would they be trapped by your skills? The higher level a man is, the more he asks. What can you do for me? Can you help my career grow? Can you help my family prosper? That's what successful men want. Only suck-ups and simps. Believe in spending their money just to please a woman. This is why so many women are wrong in their thinking. They dream of exchanging sex for houses, cars, and money. Such fantasies only exist among a few foolish rich heirs or naive cases. Most men, especially the smart ones, will never fall for it. Not elite men. Not smart, ordinary men. Not even most rich heirs. The only ones who fall for this are simps and gullible types. And they usually don't have much ability anyway. So if a woman's thinking is wrong, her life will never go well. She will always be out of touch with the reality of society. That's why many women keep claiming women are reshaping the world. But the truth is, they can only manipulate gullible men and simps. They cannot sway elite men. They cannot sway successful ordinary men. They cannot sway rich heirs. They cannot sway anyone truly high level. For high-level men, the only way for women to stand beside them is through their own excellence. If you want to match with intelligent, capable men, you must first improve yourself. Otherwise, your only options are gullible men and simps. Yes, sometimes among those simps, there are wealthy ones. But meeting one requires pure luck. That's why so many women, after hearing this logic, become defensive. Some say, I'm just different, I'm special. But no, you are not special. You are just being naive, with low awareness, easily manipulated. Even so-called bad boys don't want you, because they have plenty of women. You're not even attractive enough for them. You're only being toyed with occasionally, never truly valued.
追女生的时候哈，你就要学会吹牛。你稍
When you're chasing a girl, you need to learn how to brag a little. If you brag just a bit, women actually like it. But if you're always too honest, telling her everything exactly as it is, she won't accept it. In fact, she might even be scared off by you. Of course, I'm not saying you should deceive women. What I mean is, based on your real conditions, you can exaggerate just a little. This will make women more likely to like you. There's an old saying, a phoenix without feathers is not even as good as a chicken. It's the same with women. Once the makeup comes off, many aren't as beautiful as their photos. Some women look stunning in pictures, but only because they've added makeup, filters, and Photoshop. Without all that, they might look just average. But with all the beauty tricks, they attract more men and increase their options. Bragging works the same way for men. It's like a beauty filter. In front of a woman you like, you should brag like a matchmaker, because this increases your chances. As long as it's not too outrageous, it isn't lying. For example, if you're 1.70 meters tall and you wear height-increasing insoles, you can say you're 1,75. That's not too much. She won't actually measure you. Or say you earn 6,000 yuan a month. You can say, on a good month I make 10,000, on a bad month 6,000. That way, she'll feel you're capable, that being with you won't mean living in poverty. If you're a construction worker, don't say, I move bricks. Say, I'm in engineering. If you're a truck driver, say, I work in logistics. If you sell fruits and vegetables, say, I do fresh produce wholesale. See? It sounds more respectable. So, on the basis of your real situation, polish your presentation. Don't feel embarrassed. Women wear makeup, filters, and Photoshop without shame. Why should you be afraid of dressing up your profile a little? Once you brag a little, you'll see women treat you differently. She'll want to know more about you. She'll be more willing to chat with you. Then, once you learn to chat properly, not awkward, not boring, able to make her laugh, able to provide emotional value, your chances of becoming a couple will greatly increase. Before we dive into all of this, let us know in the comments where you're watching this video from. Connecting with viewers across the world is a huge source of inspiration for us.
真的兄弟们，咱又不是说23、24岁，但都30。
Let's be honest. We're no longer 23 or 24 years old. We're 35, 36, even 37 or 38. At this age, people are already becoming grandparents. So from now on, when people ask, don't say you're still single. Instead, say you already have 2 kids. Or say 3. If someone asks, where's your partner from? Say, Beijing, Tianjin, Hebei, or Henan, you understand, right? And if I need a photo, I'll just ask you guys to drop your pictures in the comments. I'll randomly pick one and say, this is my partner. Whichever looks best, I'll claim them. Because when we're outside, face is something we give ourselves. Don't keep saying you're single. When people hear someone our age is still single, when we should already be holding grandkids, still looking for a partner, they feel embarrassed on your behalf. It's not just about you losing face. It's also awkward for them to even ask. Think about it. They ask you casually, only to discover you're middle-aged, still not married. That's embarrassing for everyone.
前两天呢，不是刚跟大家聊了相亲中女生觉得男生的
The other day, I talked about things men do on blind dates that women find off-putting. Today, let's flip it and talk about the things women do on blind dates that men find off-putting. First, talking about exes. Some women, the moment they sit down, start talking endlessly about their ex-boyfriends or previous blind dates. Some compare. My ex was all over 1.80 meters tall. He earned a high salary, was generous, always spent holidays with me, bought me expensive gifts, and his money transfers were always 4 digits or more. What are you implying? That your current date is not good enough? Others do the opposite. My last blind date was disgusting. Just sitting across from him made me sick. Come on, whether man or woman, bad-mouthing someone behind their back is distasteful. But doing it to your new blind date? That just makes him wonder, if we date, will she complain about me the same way later? Honestly, why talk about exes at all? If you haven't moved on, if you're not ready for a new relationship, then why are you here? Second, being materialistic. Some women start asking for gifts and money transfers. After just a few days of knowing each other, it's as if every new man they meet owes them a phone, a designer bag, or something expensive. I had a female client like this. Just 2 days after meeting a man, she sent him a phone shopping link with the caption, "Gege, big brother, I want this." That's called getting something for nothing. Low-level gold digging. Men, please don't fall for that. Third, never paying for anything. Some women go to restaurants and order the most expensive dishes, like they're trying to max out the bill. They claim, "This is just my usual standard." If the man minds, then forget it. But they never once offer to treat the man. Not even a cup of milk tea, because in their minds, men paying is just how it should be. I'm already giving you face by coming out. How could I pay too? These are the women who give nothing, but expect everything. They link romance and money completely. They think, if he spends money, he must love me. Sure, in blind dates, people care about conditions. But when did it become only about the man's conditions? When did it become he must pay for everything? Dating a few days does not mean he owes you expensive gifts. So men, when you see these signs, don't waste your time. Don't think you can change her or win her over. Because once you give in, there will be a second time, a third time. It's a bottomless pit. As for the women with these behaviors, I won't even bother advising you, because you won't listen anyway. Better you stay single.
38岁，未婚。
At 38 years old, feeding fish, feeding stray animals, but homeless, with no one to love, no one to care for me. What future is there to talk about? Do I still need to keep struggling? Where is my motivation? And where are you? If you're still watching, comment 1 so I know you're still with me.
你都30好几了，居然还跟我说你要找爱情，看什么感觉？
You're already well past 30, and yet you're still telling me you want to find love. What do you mean by following your feelings? Even if I'm older, I still have the right to pursue love. But right now you're looking to marry, not just casually date. When a woman is choosing a marriage partner, she must stay rational and clear-headed. You can't always be talking about love and feelings. If you want a happy marriage, you must reduce the role of romantic love. But without love, what kind of marriage is that? A lifetime is so long. Surely I need to marry someone I love. Otherwise, how could I endure it? But reality doesn't work that way. Let me, Sister Xiong, tell you a harsh truth about marriage. It may sound cruel, but you must listen, or you will suffer greatly later. First, whether a marriage is happy or not does not depend on whether there is love. It depends on whether your basic life is secure. When you reach middle age, with parents above you and children below you, if you cannot even secure the basics, you won't have the energy to think about love at all. 90% of marital conflicts are caused by money. The more stable your finances, the more stable your emotions. And only then can your marriage be happy. Second, marriage cannot change anyone. Living together may affect daily habits, like food preferences, lifestyle routines, but things like responsibility, ambition, whether a man has backbone or good character, those were set decades ago. They will not change because of you. Don't believe in stories of the bad boy reforming. That is usually a disguise, a temporary act to lock you in. When choosing a spouse, you must prioritize character. Look for someone who is genuinely good, not just someone who treats you well. Don't be foolish enough to think that his special treatment means you are different. Third, suitability is more important than liking. Choosing a partner is like choosing shoes. High heels may look pretty, but they're uncomfortable to wear long term. They're fine for photos or short outings. But the shoes you wear most often, the ones that carry you furthest in life, are plain canvas shoes or sneakers. They may not look glamorous, but they're comfortable and reliable. So when women choose husbands, it cannot be the same as choosing boyfriends. Don't just look at height, handsomeness, or whether you like him. Ask yourself, can you live with him every day? Is he dependable in the details of life? Fourth, listen to your parents' advice. I'm not saying their judgment is perfect, but when a woman is lost in romance, she often loses rationality. That's when an outsider's perspective is needed. And your parents, with their own marital experience, always judge men with your long-term interest in mind. Taking their advice as reference is never a bad thing. Fifth, understand marriage and men's true needs. 90% of men do not actually want a virtuous wife and loving mother. That standard is very high. It requires the man to be financially stress-free so that the woman can afford to stay home, manage the household, and take care of the family full-time. But in reality, most men do not have those conditions. What they actually need is a capable partner, someone who can also shoulder responsibility. Yes, he may earn more in normal times, but when his career falters, you must be able to step up. Marriage is about mutual support, facing life's risks together. Don't live only in your fantasy of love, waiting for a man to provide for you. If you have no ability to handle risk, and you place your whole future on a man's vague promises of love, that is extremely dangerous. Sixth, always keep the courage and ability to leave. Friends may drift apart. Business partners may abandon you for new ventures. Marriage is the same as all other relationships. It is the constant process of encountering problems, finding problems, solving problems. If you truly cannot solve the problem, then you may have to solve the person causing it. Nobody remains the same for a lifetime. So, my dear, the greatest skill for a woman is not just the ability to spot bad men, but the courage and ability, like a gecko, to break free when necessary and survive. Of course, being loved is wonderful. But even without love, you must still live well. We should believe in love, enjoy love, but never let love be our only standard. Especially at your age. You are no longer a girl in her early 22nd. Stop being so naive. Think more carefully. What real benefits do you both bring to each other? Is it good genes, material stability, or a true partner to fight life's battles with? Marriage is not just about romance and promises. It is about responsibility and mutual benefit. Do you understand?
有啥好焦虑的？这辈子无论你怎么活，也就3。
What's there to be anxious about? No matter how you live, this life is only around 30,000 days. In the long river of history, we are nothing. Out of 1.4 billion people, each of us may only remember fewer than 1,000 names in a lifetime. I don't even know who my father's father was. So do you think 50 years after I'm buried, anyone will still remember me? Even now, alive and breathing, a few people think of me. We are dust. Life is a practice. Let go of comparison. Let go of obsession. Live, however, makes you happy. I really must say this. The lifestyle of Malaysians. Lazy, easygoing, carefree. I truly envy it. They live with no pressure. And that's what life should be. Life is short. Go out, travel, change your environment, change your state of mind. When you walk out, you'll realize life can actually be so relaxed, so pleasant.
兄弟们，这2天有没有看一个新闻？就是一个房产
Brothers, have you seen this news in the past few days? A female real estate saleswoman managed to sell 36 apartments in one building, each to a different man. Basically, she dated 36 men at the same time. Her line was, "If you want me to marry you, you must buy a house." But she added, "I don't require you to put my name on the deed. In fact, I'm even willing to help you by paying 30,000 yuan, approximately equals 4,200 USD, of the down payment myself." She told the men, "As long as you buy the apartment, I'll marry you." But once the loans were processed, she vanished, cut off all contact, disappeared completely. These men joined together to sue her. But apparently, for certain reasons, the case couldn't be filed. No charges could be established. Now imagine this. If that woman turned around and sued one of the men, saying, "We broke up, pay me back the 30,000 yuan, approximately equals 4,200 USD, I gave you," she would very likely win the case. That's exactly why she refused to have her name on the property. If her name had been included, it would have led to endless disputes, and she would have been tied to the loan with the man. In fact, some of the men, being kind-hearted, told her, "We're going to be one family in the future. Since you also put in money, let's write your name on the deed." But this woman's persuasion skills were incredible. She said, "I don't want my name there. The only reason I need you to buy a house is to satisfy my parents' requirement. They insist that my future husband must own property before I can marry him. If my name is on the deed, my parents will assume I also contributed money. Then they won't believe the house is yours alone. I just want my parents to feel you have the ability that you can buy a home for our marriage. That's why my name mustn't be on it. You see? Sounds perfectly reasonable, doesn't it? Honestly, brothers, this kind of talk could fool almost anyone, not just men. Swap the genders, and anyone would fall for it. And don't say these men were greedy or wanted a bargain. Let's be real, who doesn't want a bargain if it's offered? But let's analyze this objectively. If a man is already older, not handsome, not wealthy, and suddenly meets a woman who appears to invest in him, that's suspicious. Likewise, if an older woman, plain-looking, suddenly meets her Prince Charming, rich, handsome, something she never achieved in her youth, then in middle age she should stop dreaming. Almost certainly, it's a trap. And in this case, it was exactly that, a pig butchering scam.
你看那男生，
看见了？
普普通通的，是不是？
Look at that guy. On the surface, he looks ordinary, right? But did you see the girl? Beautiful, isn't she? And guess what? That man just rejected her. No way, you say? Impossible? But it's true. This man is one of the most sought-after types in the matchmaking market. A Shanghai local, owns property, earns over 300,000 yuan, approximately equals 42,000 USD, a year, born in 1988, tall, stable. And yes, the girl is gorgeous. The man even admitted she was exactly his type in terms of looks. But he said, I'm looking for a wife, not just a pretty face. I cannot marry a woman who works in nightlife venues. What's wrong with nightlife work? Isn't that career discrimination? At first, I thought the same, that we shouldn't be judgmental about jobs. But after listening to his reasoning, I found he had a point. A explained, women who work in nightlife environments are constantly surrounded by wealthy men, second-generation rich kids, throwing money around like water, dressed in designer brands, driving Porsches, Ferraris, Lamborghinis. Such women easily get accustomed to that fast money, flashy lifestyle. It's very hard for them to adjust back to an ordinary, stable life. And it's not about all women in that line of work. I know exceptions exist, but as an average man, why should I take on that level of risk? You never know how many men she adds on WeChat, how many she interacts with closely every day, what kind of intimate exposure her environment brings. Even her colleagues' conversations at night, thence from Iryu into time and colleagues' conversations at night, are all about who went home with whom. And how do I know this? Because when I was younger, I was foolish. I dated a girl from that scene, and I ended up being cheated on, so now I see it clearly. I'm just an ordinary man. If I have to spend my parents' life savings to buy a house, pay a bride price on top of that, why would I marry someone from such an environment? What would I gain? Video.
32岁未婚女生月薪7000，不谈恋爱没社交的38女神节。
How does a 32-year-old unmarried woman earning sept 0 yuan, 980 USD a month, without dating, without much social life, you spend International Women's Day? Hello, sisters. Happy Women's Day. A couple of days ago, I stayed up late filling flower bouquet orders for the holiday. This morning, I finally woke up at 10 a.m. The girls loved the bouquets I made, and that made me happy. With the leftover flowers, I arranged some in a vase. Because even at home, Women's Day must have a little ceremony. In the evening, I've made plans with my best friend to celebrate. For lunch, I decided to cook for myself at home. I just bought a new frying pan and a nice cutting board. I love buying things like that. They bring a sense of homeliness, and that's probably why I work so hard to earn money. The apple knife I bought works great, perfect size for daily use. I added a little oil, stir-fried some vegetables. The bright colors lifted my mood. In just an hour, I had one meat dish and one veggie dish ready, though I accidentally dropped a plate. Well, that just means I get to buy a new one. Even if breaking a plate put me in a bad mood for a moment, a good meal always fixes everything. After lunch, I made a coffee flower basket arrangement for my best friend. I used to think red roses were tacky, but now, I actually love them. Fresh flowers arranged, coffee ready. When she receives them, she'll definitely be happy. I like being alone, but I also like occasionally meeting up with friends. We share what's been happening in our lives, complain a little, laugh a little. It's a different kind of happiness.
说说彩礼吧。我是坚决反对天价彩礼啊，超过20万
Let's talk about bride price. I firmly reject and oppose sky-high bride prices. Anything over 200,000 yuan, approximately equals 28,000 USD, is already sky-high. And it's not just me who opposes this. The government is now cracking down hard. You must understand. All exorbitant bride prices are basically using marriage as a pretext to seek profit. But below 200,000 yuan, approximately equals 28,000 USD, between two people in a relationship, it's fine to sit down and discuss and agree on a reasonable figure. Then both can happily move forward into marriage. If a man flat out refuses to give bride price, block him, delete him, find the next one. Don't waste your time. And if a man tells you, the bride price is the seed money for our future family, block and delete him immediately. Because if a family is already so poor that they need the bride price to fund their future household, then your days ahead will be bitter, full of suffering and hardship. Don't marry into that. And I want to tell many women this. The bride price is yours. It belongs to you. Don't hand it to your parents. Many women are so kind-hearted that they say, my parents raised me, paid for my schooling, worked so hard I should give them the bride price. Listen, you can support them with your salary. You can care for them in their old age. You can show lifelong filial piety. That's all fine. But the bride price must not be touched. It cannot be moved. It is yours. Don't give it to your husband. Don't give it to the man's family. Don't give it to your natal family. Keep it for yourself. With money, you have security. Without money, your heart is unsettled. You panic when trouble comes. You cannot gamble on the idea that your husband will always treat you well. If he does treat you well, wonderful, you'll be happy. But if he doesn't, then what? The bride price is your little vault. It's your startup fund for a new life. Understand? If you hand it to your natal family, what then? And not only should you not give your bride price to them, you should demand as much dowry as possible from them, especially if you have brothers. Because let's be real, all the family's money, houses, cars, sooner or later, they'll be given to your brother. This is your one and only last chance to request a significant financial contribution from your parents. So why wouldn't you ask? Get more for yourself. That way, deep inside, you'll have confidence. If risks come in your new family, you'll have an emergency backup. If your marriage becomes unhappy, you'll still be able to rely on yourself, and you won't collapse. Because once you choose marriage, once you choose to have children, the next 2 to 4 years, your personal income will drop off a cliff. That's why I beg you, be kind, but keep a clear head. Don't give the money to anyone. Keep it yourself. And as for men who make unreasonable demands, just block and delete them. If he's already making unreasonable demand before marriage, do you think you'll have happiness after marriage? Even if he forces himself to pay, he'll resent it, and he'll retaliate later. So cut it off now.
你会因为太平凡而焦虑吗？其实有时候我过得很沮丧。
Do you ever feel anxious about being too ordinary? Sometimes I feel depressed. Every day, it's the same. Go to work, come home, eat, watch shows. A slow, uneventful routine. But then sometimes it hits me. Am I really going to live such a plain life forever? And inside, I start to feel anxious. Every month, I'm paying an endless mortgage. Every day, I squeeze into packed subway cars. After work, it's just grocery shopping and cooking. Day after day, repeating. Friends and classmates gradually stop keeping in touch. Family and relatives, less and less contact. Most of their updates, I only see in WeChat groups or on moments. And sometimes I ask myself, what's the point of life? I feel unsatisfied, yet powerless to change it. So the cycle continues. Anxiety, then self-healing, again and again. But in the end, I always manage to persuade myself. After all, truly dazzling people are rare. Most people are like me, living ordinary lives. If we can make these ordinary days warm and comfortable, isn't that a kind of beauty too? Ordinary people have ordinary ways of living. In our own little worlds, we can keep a happy mindset, smile through life's ups and downs. From another perspective, Plain years also carry their own kind of magic. Eat well, 3 meals a day. Notice the small changes in yourself. Life doesn't need much decoration. Don't overthink. Don't demand too much. Contentment brings true happiness.
我今年36岁了，我想跟所有的男生说一句话。
I'm 36 this year, and I want to say something to all the men out there, especially those from poor families. When you were young, you felt you had no money, so you didn't want to date, didn't want to settle. But in the blink of an eye, now you're in your 30s, and you find that young women look down on you, while women your own age find you troublesome. And now you start to panic. But listen, when you were in your 20s, if you had just been willing to put in a little effort to make a girl happy, you could have long been married with kids. Instead, you kept putting it off, picking and choosing, and now you have nothing. Don't be naive, thinking, I've made a bit of money in my 30s, now I can walk sideways. I can do whatever I want. The reality? You don't actually have much saved. Young women now think you're greasy. They want youthful little puppies, and women your own age? They've seen the world. They're not easily impressed. Cheap gifts? You can't bring yourself to give them. Expensive ones? You're reluctant to spend. So in the end, dating feels costly in both time and money, and you still get nothing. You only grow more frustrated. The truth is, men are guilty in love too. The best time to get on board is in your 20s. So what if you didn't have a house or a car? Girls were naive and easily won over back then. A bouquet of flowers, a meal, a trip, just enough to make her devote herself to you. But you didn't cherish it. You thought earning money was more important. Now, in your 30s, you realize you don't have a house, you don't have a car, you don't have much savings, and you don't even have a partner. Haven't you dug your own hole? So, young men in their 20s, listen carefully. Don't wait until you're in your 30s to panic. Date when it's time to date. Win girls over when it's time to win them over. If you miss the prime window, you'll have nowhere to cry later. And for men in their 30s, stop fantasizing about dating young girls. Be realistic. Either spend money or accept reality. That's my advice. For men in their 20s, take action now. For men in their 30s, focus on making money. Because women in their 30s, they're not cheap. Not because they're greedy, but because cheap gifts feel beneath them, and you yourself feel embarrassed to give them. So, doesn't that just make you angry?
关于婚姻的10个真相，孩子越早认清越幸福。不管
10 truths about marriage, the earlier children understand them, the happier they'll be. Whether your child is already in a relationship or not, I strongly suggest all parents watch this through and share it with your children. It will not only improve their understanding of marriage, but also save them from taking 100 unnecessary detours compared to their peers. Mother-in-law and daughter-in-law relationships, the best way to get along is to keep some distance. Matching families is not about disdaining the poor or worshiping the rich. It's about finding resonance. Only when the frequencies match can life be harmonious. The most foolish thing a woman can do, without knowing the man's character, without holding any control over finances, to blindly marry and have children in the name of love. The secret to marital harmony is not fighting over who is right. You step back, I step back. That's how the family prospers and all things flourish. What marriage fears most? Being bruised and battered, only to regret not listening to your parents' advice earlier. The simplest, most effective way to enhance a couple's influence outside, praise each other in public. If you don't want your spouse to become a hands-off master at home, the effective way is to deliberately leave them just enough chores. Women, don't be too gullible with sweet words. Actions are the hard truth. Women who have soft ears suffer the most losses. Before marriage, stay far away from these 3 kinds of men. Those with violent tendencies, those who are unfaithful, those with poor character. Marriage is about selection, not transformation. There is no such thing as a perfect marriage. No matter who you marry, conflicts are inevitable. Marriage is the process of 2 hearts connecting, enduring, and yielding to each other. Parents, how many of these 10 truths have you told your children? Let's discuss in the comments.
在中国的时候不喜欢出门，就一个人。
When I was in China, I didn't like going out. I preferred staying alone. Now that I've come to the UK, I still don't like going out. I still prefer being alone. So tell me, aren't people like us basically unsuited for marriage? Maybe we're just meant to live alone. Because honestly, we don't even know where to go find someone.
出来混最重要的是什么呀？首先是得出来，你找对象也是。
When you're out mixing in society, what's the most important thing? First, you have to actually step out. Finding a partner works the same way. You must actively search, not just sit and wait. As long as you take the first step, the partner you desire will appear. Of course, once you go out, you'll meet more like-minded people to choose from. So don't be afraid to take that first step. High-quality partners can't be waited for. The good ones get taken quickly. What's left are only the ones others have already passed over. Don't you agree?
高收入的男生想找一个安全的、优质。
For high-income men who want to find a safe and high-quality partner, you must learn how to manage wealth. It has to be said, nowadays, high-income men have actually become a vulnerable group in the marriage market. Just a few days ago, a man earning several million yuan a year came to me. He said that last year he went on more than 10 blind dates. Every single woman was only after his money. If he invited a girl to dinner but didn't buy her a luxury bag, she would immediately sulk. Of course, no one dislikes money. Buying a girl some cosmetics or a bag isn't necessarily a big deal. Some refined men even see it as just basic courtesy. But in social psychology, there is a primacy effect. It says that about 70% of how people judge someone's character comes from the first core pieces of information they receive. That means, in the early stage of a relationship, if the interaction is centered around money, it becomes impossible to know whether the person likes you or just your money. This high-income man fell into exactly that trap. In the early stage, if you reveal your exact income, it easily distorts the other person's thinking and behavior. Some women's advice accounts online always emphasize, test a man's willingness to spend. They may not be able to judge his sense of responsibility or life skills, but they can always measure money. And people all have a tendency to compare. Even someone who wasn't very materialistic before, faced with unexpected wealth, may suddenly become materialistic. That's why, in the beginning, before you really know the other person's character, or have built up shared experiences, don't reveal identity markers of wealth. If they ask about your job, you can just say, I work in internet, or I do e-commerce. That's enough. No need to give detailed specifics. Even if she keeps dropping hints, don't feel pressured to reveal more. And always keep a bit of doubt about her value orientation. Because the woman who is truly marriage material, she will first look at you as a person, then at your bank account. Second, high-income men must replace financial compensation with aligned needs. Everyone, no matter how well off, has some insecurities. I'm a tech nerd, I don't understand women. I'm not in great shape. I've had some setbacks lately, should I use money to cover it up? But don't fall into that mentality. You never need to fill gaps with material things, because in the eyes of a woman with good character, this comes across as anxiety, making her think you're self-doubting and draining. And in the eyes of someone without good character, it becomes leverage for her to manipulate you. All you need to do is make sure your needs and hers align. Take the time to ask what she truly needs. For high-income men, what you need most, besides wealth, is emotional support. In today's utilitarian marriage market, careful and serious selection is absolutely necessary.
分享一个相亲圈不为人知的小秘密，如果一个男生的朋友圈里面没
Let me share with you a little-known secret from the blind date circle. If a man's social media feed, like his moments, has no photos at all, no real face pictures, that doesn't necessarily mean he's ugly. But if his feed has only side profiles and back views, then you'd better be careful. That's a red flag. My advice, run quickly.
你们说两个人在一起，
Do you think two people are really together because of love? Wrong. It's because I have something you need, and you have something I need. Two people join together to live life as partners. If I don't have what you need, then no matter how good-looking I am, you wouldn't live with me. Otherwise, how could simply relying on looks solve life's problems? So where is there still pure love nowadays? It's all mutual use. Harsh words, maybe. But this is the reality. Think about it.
如果给你1000万一辈子不搞对象，
If someone gave you 10 million yuan, approximately equals 1.4 million USD, on the condition that you never date or marry, would you accept it? Answer: no, I couldn't. Because I think life is meant to be experienced. As long as I have enough money, that's fine. 2 every 60. What's your personality? I'm the happy fruit among my friends. Are you more of an entertainer or a lover? I used to think I was an entertainer, but after starting work, I became more of a lover. Hard to say, haha. If a guy suddenly pinned you against the wall, Caboden style, what would you do? Hard to imagine. What's your go-to outfit for a date? I think other styles don't really suit me. Personally, I prefer something more cute. Are you a sweet girl? I'm working hard to become one, haha. Maybe 70% sweet.
怎样才能够降低这离婚率，提高
How can we reduce the divorce rate and increase the marriage rate? My view. The best way is whoever files for divorce, whatever belongs to them, should be returned to them. What kind of women are the most eager to get married? The ones who don't want to work? Who are lazy? Especially those who are already drowning in debt. They urgently want to find a man to fill that hole. Once the man fills it, their purpose is achieved. Then they want a divorce. This is the main cause behind many divorces today. So, if divorce means everything you got must be returned, would those women still leave so easily? Look at what's happening now. In many marriages, one side pays money, while the other side doesn't even want to do housework. And when they say, I don't want this anymore, they just walk away. In the past, people said, marry a man and he'll clothe and feed you. Now this principle must also be respected, especially with women who are lazy and unwilling to work. If you provide them with food, clothes, and money, fine. But don't hand over all your earnings, because once they feel they've saved up enough, they'll suddenly say, I don't want this marriage anymore. But if they know that after divorce, they won't have money, won't have security, and everything must be given back, then would they still leave so easily? Some people say, well, women can also be financially independent and not rely on men. Family, are you joking? Truly financially independent women wouldn't be playing these tricks in the first place. Am I right? Today, China's social trends is witnessing dramatic shifts in marriage and family. According to China's Ministry of Civil Affairs, in 2023, the number of registered marriages fell to a record low of just 6.8 million couples, a drop of more than 50% compared to 2013. At the same time, divorce rates continue to climb, especially in major cities, showing how financial pressure and modern lifestyles are eroding the foundation of family life. Yet this trend reminds us of something deeper: the need to return to traditional values, respect, kindness, responsibility, and the bonds of family. Because in the end, family is the safe harbor, the true source of happiness, not fleeting illusions of wealth or vanity. And this is the real China social trends that every one of us must reflect on today. Controversial question for viewers. ADA. In your opinion, should modern marriage be built primarily on love or on financial stability? If you had to choose, which would you choose? Share your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to subscribe for more videos. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.